Happy Tuesday, December 20th, 2022. Tomorrow is the solstice. That means it's the shortest day of the year, where the sun appears to die in the sky and then resurrect itself. And then the days get longer and longer. There's more light. But this is the time of darkness. Look at all these. Man, I was watching Graham Hancock's, what was it, Ancient Apocalypse, I think it's called. It's on Netflix. It's pretty good. He's not really an archaeologist. He's more of a researcher. And he looks into ancient cultures, and he has a theory that there was an extinction event that kind of happened around, I think, 10,800 BC. It's kind of where he dates it. And you look at all these ancient structures that were created right after that. Gobekli Tepe, and there's several others. Cholula, I think it is, in Mexico. There's several others, but it looks like something happened on Earth that kind of wiped out humans. And it kind of correlates with the flood stories that you see within many religious and cultures and myths. And it probably was a worldwide event where something happened. And then there's this, but well, the point of it is, and then after that, we kind of came back out of our shells and have this technology, how to build all these things. Where did that come from? Somebody survived, came from God, came from aliens, whatever. I mean, it came from somewhere where that knowledge was preserved. And the point of all this is that, you know, the cultures before that weren't necessarily a bunch of cave dwellers. They weren't that smart. There were a lot of technologies back then that I think we take for granted, and our history takes for granted. We think it's just this timeline, it just keeps going, and we improve and we get more technology. Well, what happens if we get wiped out right now? Is our technology, what we have right now, going to be preserved somewhere, or does it just get lost? Because so many of these structures are way down below the earth, and cultures have come along and built on top of them, and then built on top of them again. So you really need to go deep to find these things. I mean, we've been around for a long time, and we haven't been, you know, just a bunch of apes running around. You know, so it's interesting stuff. It kind of really throws the mainstream narrative, you know, to the wayside. Really, just upsets the apple cart. And what I'm seeing is more stuff like that, to where information is coming out right now that, I mean, if you're stuck in a dogmatic, you know, path, you know, on a dogmatic path, and you can't change, and you can't see that you've been lied to in a lot of ways, and be kind of open-minded, not so open-minded that your brain falls out, but open-minded enough to realize, oh, you know what, maybe some of the stuff I've been believing isn't true because we got lied to. They gave us an inaccurate picture of history. And, you know, some people are not going to be able to take that. And I think that's why a lot of people are checking out. I mean, they can't handle the shift. You know what I mean? And it's in a number of ways. It could be because they got pricked up and, you know, that's it. But the thing is, they're making maybe a subconscious choice that they don't want to go through this. They would rather just check out and believe, you know, the story, the picture, what they've heard their whole lives. They would rather just believe that and check out, rather than have to be confronted with what might be a different truth. So, I don't know, just a theory that I've got, a lot of things spilling out, a lot of information coming out about how the FBI was paying Twitter money, donation, whatever you want to call it, and then they're working hand in hand to ban people and track information, and the CIA documents, you know, or I should say the JFK documents, not all of them are out, but more have been released, and it looks like the CIA kind of knew it was going to happen. Kind of like the Twin Towers. We had no idea. Well, after the fact, yeah, we kind of knew that this was going to probably happen. And then you take the next logical step of, if they knew it was going to happen, does that make them complicit? Did they want it to happen? Is it like a Pearl Harbor situation to where they wanted it to happen, to draw us into war? American people didn't support it. Had to draw you into war, or needed a big event, something that would, a day of infamy, something that would drag us into war. And that's what you have. And so a lot of this truth is coming out. A lot of us have kind of known it. If not known it through facts, have known it inside, because when you know human nature and you see how people act and you see who benefits, you kind of figure it out and you put the puzzle pieces together. But it looks like the CIA knew exactly what was going on, knew who Oswald was, and then just, you know, I mean, just by coincidence, the president gets shot in the head. Looks like from multiple directions, though. I don't know. The whole thing's a fraud. Everything's a lie. And you just, I mean, when you get your head around that, when you've seen enough, you just, nothing surprises you and you're not shocked. You know, it amazes me, the people who see the FTX news, the Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF, with the whole collapse of that, and just, they just have a very superficial knowledge of it, and all they see is, oh my gosh, this guy stole all this money from people and had a bunch of mansions and toys, cars, whatever. Really didn't have cars, I don't think. A lot of property. And that's all they see. When the facts are right in front of you, when you look at his parents and his girlfriend's parents and you see their connections, and it's like there's no coincidence here. So, I mean, but when you look at the mainstream news, that's kind of all you get, and that's what you've been fed, and I mean, that's what you believe because you haven't done any research. But it's all in front of you. I mean, all of the information is there, and you either choose to accept it or you just deny it. You know, we have that choice, and I think that's where we're at. We have to make a choice, and some people are choosing to check out. You know, I think at a spiritual, subconscious level, they're just saying, I'm done. I'm not going to confront this. I'm not going to fight this battle. I am not going to be a part of this. I mean, I really believe that. So I'm going to back up here. Let's see. Not run into the building. Now let's go this way because I'm going to have to get that out. Oh, we've got snow coming. I don't know how much. Last night they said they're forecasting 6 to 10 inches of snow. So I have to get a little bit more prepared here. Instead of getting stuck, I'm going to move some things around. But 6 to 10 inches. But now this morning, my wife always says, oh, they're always wrong. They never get it right. And I'm like, you want to bet? And she's like, no, I don't bet, but I just do that because, like, all right, put it out there. And of course, she's usually right. So it ended up being today. They're saying 4 to 6 inches now. Once more of it's going east of us. So we'll probably end up with like 3 inches. And it won't even be a big deal. The problem's going to be the cold weather and the wind, though. So if we get any amount of snow, these wide open fields, these open roads, it starts blowing around. They're talking 55-mile-an-hour winds. I mean, that's pretty bad. And the wind chill is going to be negative 30 just because the temperature is like 5 degrees. And overnight, it will be like negative 5 degrees this weekend, or around Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that time frame. So pretty rough conditions, and it'll be really bad if we get a lot of snow because that stuff will drift, and I mean, that wind, it'll just be a non-stop thing. Hopefully we don't get that much snow. But yeah, we definitely have the cold weather coming, so be prepared. That's all you can do, is be prepared for it, have what you need. I picked up a few things that I needed today, but no panic. There's no panic yet. Wait till Wednesday, which is tomorrow, before the snow falls on Thursday. Everybody will be out panicking. They're not going to be able to get their Christmas shopping done because the weather's going to be horrible. So they're going to have to like go out and do it. And it'll just be chaos, crazy, madness. Cost of gas was down. I just filled up the DigiByte tank. It was $4.69 a gallon for diesel. It was $3.27, I think, for the low-end gas, which that's considerably cheaper than it has been. Actually, I don't know if that's a good sign, though. Maybe a sign the economy is really slowing down because the demand is coming down. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the numbers. Don't know. But, yeah. It's interesting out there. I don't get out much, but that's all right. I choose not to. I really don't have a lot to go out and do. You know, if I need to pick up some things, I will. Oh yeah, I wanted to read a quote. This is, I don't quite get it. On the television screen, there were some advertisements. There's that click it or ticket. You ever seen that? Like the seatbelt law in Illinois, there's a seatbelt law. Click it or ticket. Just gives them an excuse to pull you over. Hey, you're not wearing your seatbelt. What else you got in the car? Yeah. You know, and that's all it is. Pretense for that. The ad, it was on public service announcement, whatever, click it or ticket. And then it had a quote at the end. It said, nearly 50% of people who die in a crash in Illinois are not wearing a seatbelt. Now, is that compelling? I mean, think about it. Nearly 50% of people who die in a crash in Illinois, nearly half of the people who die in a crash in Illinois, so are not wearing a seatbelt. So does that mean more than 50% of the people who die in a crash in Illinois are wearing a seatbelt? I mean, that's what I'm taking. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I'll read it one more time. Nearly 50% of people who die in a crash in Illinois are not wearing a seatbelt. I don't know. That's what it is. I mean, it was a little confusing to me. Maybe I'm just not getting it and reading it right, but I looked at it and I thought, well, nearly half who die in a crash. You got people, everybody who dies in a crash, 100% of the people who die in a crash, nearly half of them are wearing a seatbelt. Therefore, over half are not wearing a seatbelt. Over half are wearing a seatbelt. I don't get it. Anyway, 50% of the people, it sounds like it doesn't matter. You're going to die or you're not going to die. I wear a seatbelt because I've been in accidents before. Not many, but I mean, one a couple of years ago, coming up on 2 years, in this very DigiByte, and hit like a, you know, it's low clearance on the ground, but there was a snowdrift. It's just where it had blown across and drifted across, and it hadn't been plowed yet. And it was, you know, it was up maybe that much, but it was enough that when I hit it and there was enough loose snow in it that it was just, and then the thing spun this way, rolled onto the side down the field, and it happened to be the lowest like part of that field. Most of it's pretty high. That was low. And so I was in the car with, I was taking my daughter to school and had my other dog, Bella, with us. And oh man, she's standing on the glass over here as it's on its side, just standing there on the glass. I'm like, oh man, you all right? Anyway, my daughter's like sideways, and it was fun watching me get out. I had to climb out, lifted them out and climbed out and had the DigiByte towed and brought it back, changed all the fluids. Still running, baby. They totaled it out. I mean, but hey, I mean, it's, you know, I had to replace some body stuff, did that myself. And for the most part, I mean, it's old girl still running. So I'm going to keep running it, over 300,000 miles on it. I mean, I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm going to keep running it. You know, if it's got use, I'm going to keep using it. And that's just how it is. I don't have any desire to go out and buy a new car. I just don't. So that's what it is, Tuesday. This is the time, I guess, this 3-day period to where the solstice is tomorrow and then today. So you'll have the sun almost stopping in the sky for the next 3 days. And then it'll start to rise again every day, higher and higher in the sky, so that it will be, as the daylight increases. So here we are. We're at that time of the year, the darkest part of the year. A lot of darkness. I was talking about the Graham Hancock thing, and the reason why I said that is because a lot of those ancient monuments, those ancient structures, took into account, they lined up directly on solstices and equinoxes on Earth. So in my thinking, it was almost like it's good for farming if they're going to plant crops. I mean, they want to know, okay, now's the time, and, you know, so many days after this, whatever. That was their signal, I would think, that, okay, now it's time. And I can see it becoming almost ritualistic and a worshipful thing, to where that's why you have a sun god and a moon god, and, you know, times and of the seasons, you have different gods that you assign, goddesses, because it's a personification of the seasons, and it helps people relate more. And so they assign a god to it. And instead of, you know, oh, thank you, I'm so thankful that the sun is getting warmer, they would say, you know, oh, thank you, Ra, or whatever, or thank you, Helios, you know, or whatever sun god you would label it, but it gave them something to talk to. and give their energy toward, instead of, you know, just saying, wow, I'm so thankful and grateful. Well, who am I grateful to? I don't know. Let's give it a name. You know, I'm grateful and because it's working and something made it work somehow, and I just don't know what the name of that thing or person is, and so I need to, like, so anyway, you can definitely see how it was very important, how the alignment of the stars and the alignment of the sun and different seasons, you know, it's just an important thing. And I think a lot of the events follow those ancient time patterns, because you do have kind of some ritualistic people who have risen to power. And I think they definitely do take into account movements of planets and the sun, the moon, star locations. I think they believe in that. So you don't have to. You don't have to believe in it. Thing is, if they do, they're the ones influencing your life. So you might want to pay attention. Just saying. I mean, just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean there aren't other people who aren't believing in it and actually using it and doing things, manipulating things based on those time frames, because they believe in it. And those people might happen to be presidents. They might happen to be people with a lot of money that control things, that run organizations that you really don't know a lot about, but there's billions, trillions that they have access to. Well, they can wield a little bit of influence, so you might want to pay attention in what they're doing. All right. Watch out for the vampires within the darkness, since we are in this dark time. I think we're good. I think we're moving out of this. I think a lot of truth is being revealed. I think we're going forward, and it's a choice. You can choose to live in the old ways. You can choose to think that everything you've been told and learned is, oh, that's the way it is. Or you can start paying attention. And as things are revealed, as things unfold, as truth comes out, don't be dismissive of it. Pay attention to it and use discernment and really trust your instincts on this, because you might learn something. There might be something new that you can apply. There might be something new. You might realize you've been deceived. And so some people, when they realize they're deceived, they double down. They're like, no, no, no. And they just become intolerant and hate. And other people just take a step back and they think about it and readjust their outlook, perhaps. And I think this is a time where we really going to need to take a hard look at things. Need to take a hard look at what we've thought was true, because it might not be. And as we get more information, maybe we change our opinion. And maybe we change how we think. And maybe we change our actions and stop doing some of the things that were contributing to the lie. So maybe that's where we're at. I think we are. So keep an open mind and use discernment and trust yourself, because there might be a lot coming at us. A whole lot. Alrighty, hope you have a happy Tuesday. It's a nice day here for now, and I'm preparing for the storm. Look out. I'll keep you updated on what it looks like and how cold it gets. Maybe I'll make a video out in the cold. Ooh, negative 30 wind chills. That'll be fun, won't it? Ugh. All right, love you all. Thanks for watching, and trust yourselves. Very important to do that in this time. All right, have a wonderful Tuesday.